Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Live Music Nation Podcast Festival Edition. Today we are with Casey Wright. She's from Mayday Underground. Casey, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. Casey, give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up? Talk a little bit about your family and career.
I grew up mostly here in Western New York. I was born in Texas, but I left when I was 3 for assorted reasons. But I've always been into art. My dad got me an easel actually when I turned 3, so I've always had art as part of my life, and it was my favorite course in school. Didn't go to college for it, go figure. But about 13 years ago, having been part of the art scene in Rochester for quite a few years at that point, selling my own things, a friend and I decided to start our own craft show.
All right. So let's jump into it. For those who have not been to your craft show, 3 questions. What does it look like? What does it smell like? Meaning, do you have food and what types of food? And number 3, what does it sound like? What kind of events are going on during that time?
What does it look like? The first one was in the basement of an old warehouse building across from a brewery. So it was very like damp and it had been converted for us in the matter of like six
Right,
weeks. So
right.
the first one smelled a little funky and we only had about 25 artists and the response from the community was just enormous. So we moved to a bigger location called the Village Gate and we rent the entire upstairs area so we can fit about 70 artists in there. We do occasionally have some food vendors. Generally, we had lemonade the last time. We had a
Yep, yep.
handmade lemonade stand, and we get some bakers and some chocolatiers. We have a couple of really great local chocolate makers, but there are also restaurants in the building. So,
Oh,
like, there's a
yeah,
sushi
perfect.
place right below us and a burger place. So, you kind of get the smells wafting throughout. The bakery is directly downstairs. So, that's a nice smell all day. The sound, we play like some low background music, but generally we like to let it just be the artists and the shoppers working together and talking and chatting.
Good. What made you start this for yourself?
Excuse me. Um, there was kind of like our tagline has always kind of been not your granny's craft show. So there are a lot of, craft shows in the Rochester area, but sort of a mixed bag of like older style, farmhouse kind of crafting and
Mhm.
just hobbyist crafting. We kind of wanted to bring at the time, and when we started this in 2010, Etsy was like a really big movement. So we kind of said that our show is like the front page of Etsy, which isn't a thing anymore because we're old now. But it was like the best of the newest, most independent artists that we could find using different techniques that you wouldn't normally see or reusing materials in a different kind of way. And we really wanted a place for that. It was big in bigger cities. You had like
Sure.
Renegade and you had the Bizarre Bazaars and like San Francisco and Cleveland. You had these huge shows that had like franchises basically that were this aesthetic. So we just kind of bring that to Rochester.
Yeah,
And it turned out there was a big response to it. So 13 years later, minus COVID, here we are.
yeah. No, absolutely. And you can always keep that young generation feel if you are bringing in new artists. I'm sure that you encourage that as you go through there. What's
Yeah, we
what's
jury, sorry, I was gonna say we
no
jury
what's
fresh each show. So we're always
okay.
looking for new people.
What's one of the biggest impacts you think the festival has had, either on your community or to an artist themselves?
Um, I mean, there's so much. I've had people who've done the show, come to me and say, I started my business because I came to the show and saw
Mm,
that there was, I started making things to sell after shopping here. I have a lady who now owns 2 really successful clothing boutiques in Rochester who was an artist at our first few shows and said that she opened those shops having seen that, there was a demand for that you know, so it's been pretty cool that a lot of people, a lot of folks have said, you didn't let me in right away. And I got mad, but I kept working and working. And eventually you let me in. So it made me be better. And those
yeah,
stories, it's kind of heartwarming, warms my cold, cynical heart a little bit.
yeah. It's
But
got to make you feel better. And that it really to do what you love and to be able to impact others. That's a huge thing, Casey. So you're doing a remarkable job there as it goes
I've
through there.
always said
So,
I'm the facilitator. I like
yep,
to bring people, I like to organize the thing. I was selling at Mayday for a long time. I didn't pay myself to run it. I just always figured I'd sell as well
right.
as my artist did. And we came back after COVID, and it kind of gave me a different perspective on it. And I kind of saw how meaningful it was to the art community and even, to the shoppers to be able to have access to that in a central location. So
And
I stopped selling
you
there. Now I
still
just run it. I get to like be the mayor, which is pretty cool. I get to talk to a lot more people about it, which is nice.
do you still create?
I do, yeah. I still make my own stuff and sell it, just not at that event. It got to be the girl who co-founded it with me has actually moved to Washington, D.C. and started her own small business gift shop there, handmade, like science focused
Mhm.
gift things. And she's actually about to open a community space there. So it's been, we all grow in our different directions from Mayday, but it's really cool to watch it evolve over time.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Casey, I'm in live music and entertainment, a little different form of art, still an artist, and I love what I do. You love what you do. I got a question for you though. I like to survey the nation. So my question for you is this: what's the best concert you've ever been to your entire life?
Oh, bro, I don't know. Hold on now. My brother is a musician. He plays bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been to a lot. Oh, I don't know. We've been to Primus a bunch. I really like a Primus show live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
All
know,
right.
you get a pretty solid mix of stuff. I went and saw Manchester Orchestra last year, which is the first show I've been to in a long time, and they are
Mm.
phenomenal live. That's got to be in like my top three. Probably Nine Inch Nails on the Fragile tour because I'm older than dirt, and I saw them when A Perfect Circle opened for them, and that was phenomenal.
Yep,
Static X I've seen a bunch of times, and I'm kind of bummed that that won't ever happen again.
for sure.
The
Okay.
OG
Second
Static X.
question.
But yeah, there's just so many. I mean, how do you.
Yeah. Well, you asked you pick one because I asked you to. That's it.
I know.
Okay.
First one,
Okay.
I guess Prime.
All right. Dead or alive, you could bring one musical act to Mayday Underground. Now, there's two ways to look at it. You could bring your favorite act that you never got to
Yeah.
see, dead or alive, or you could bring an act that is going to pack your city full of people, and your artists are going to be able to display their work for 500,000 people. Who you bringing in both scenarios?
Oh, wow. It's tricky. Hmm. I realize totally rhetorical. Probably as far as drawing a lot of people, that would be our target. Probably something like My Chemical Romance
Okay.
kind of thing. We get a lot of, I say, emo kids or whatever,
Yep.
the
Yep.
indie scene, the scene kids, as they're aging with us.
Yep.
But that would
Yep.
probably be a pretty solid bet for that.
All right.
There's a local
Who's your
band.
personal choice?
My personal choice for that, I'd have a hard time not saying Primus. They played in Rochester once, and it was probably my favorite show I've seen in Rochester. So I'm going to go with Primus again.
Can't go wrong there, especially if it's what you want.
Because they're kind of eccentric, they're oddball. They'd still draw the folks that we mostly are targeting. So
Yep. Yep. That's great. All right. How do people find out more about your craft show?
we have our website is maydaycraft.com. We are on the Facebook and the Instagram as Mayday Underground. Our logo is a little owl, like a little burrowing owl guy. Some form of owl has been with us since the beginning. So
That's awesome.
that's about it. We don't do the TikTok or the other one there that the kids are into, but
Sure.
yeah, mostly just we try to keep our presence up. I use the page. We only do the 2 shows a year now, and we use the page in between to kind of promote other events in the community and kind of try to lift other smaller organizations up. So we're
Yes.
closing in on 8,000 followers now, and
Good.
just recently there was a group raising funds to buy books for the inner city schools, so they've got a post up there. We have a few paid sponsors, and we kind of bump their little events throughout the year as well.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
all
Very
keep it in
good.
the community. Everybody's got to work together. So
That's right. That's right. Very good. Well, Casey, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. Glad it worked out.
yeah, thank you, sir. Sorry about all the mix up there.
Hey, no problem.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of